Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Harold Owens III, and this is Owens III. And for today's video, I want to do another yo-yo tutorial. Anyone who's seen my previous video might recognize the fit. It is the exact same day, and I'm recording this immediately after my Dizzy Baby beginner, intermediate, and advanced tutorial video. But I figured I wanted to go one step further and give something for the experienced yo-yoers out there. Okay, so this is not going to be a tutorial for people who have probably not been yo-yoing for over a couple years. Like, I know people get really good these days, so you might be a year in and manage this, but I honestly wouldn't suggest it. This is going to be one of my kind of go-to technical combos, ending in a very signature trick. So a lot of people have asked me to do tutorials of that one trick. Well, this is one combo that I typically end in that trick. So if you're one of those people who wanted to learn how to do, I guess I'll spoil it, snap, I don't know, YouTube algorithm may not even let me say it, but it rhymes with domicide. Okay, that trick, snap, is very fun and one of my signature tricks. I still do it all the time, and this is going to put all of those elements together. Okay, I'm not sure how this is going to go because I've never done a tutorial on such a long tech combo. I don't have the best angle, honestly, for it, so I'm going to have to explain very well all the steps and rely on you all, the yo-yoers in the world, to pick up on the details that I can't explain or show very well, okay? So first things first, I'm going to be using this, which is my signature model from Yo-Yo Factory. It's called the Hot. Those are just my initials, Harold Owens III. This is, I think, from the second run of the first signature model I had. This is the gray base with a red black splatter effect. Very cool. One of my favorite throws. I still use to this day. Okay, so without any further ado, let's do it. Here's the trick. Could take me some tries, but honestly the tutorial will take me more tries. But one time through from the top, this is what it looks like. One mistake there. Okay, so that's the trick. I'm going to do once more, get my hair out of the way so I don't mess up as much. One more time, and then we're going to get to the steps. Oops. Okay, so I got the snap down. I've actually messed up the same step twice, so one more time, clean hopefully. There we go. Okay, so that's 3 times, varying levels of cleanliness, but I think you get the idea. It's my kind of tech, a lot of spins and hops involved, little technical passes, and then a little cherry at the end of the whole tech combo. So let's get started. Okay, It starts with, of course, side throw breakaway, and you're going to continue into what's 1.5, okay? So this mount here is basically your starting point. I will at various times have like my whole hand in the mount or just the index. It's really up to you how you want to do the 1.5. I tend to have my whole hand in there. Okay, so you're going to get into a 1.5, and with that same momentum of this swing, you're going to swing up and through the middle of this mount. So with my hand forward, there's a gap here, and I could go up and through the middle on the right. So now there's twists on my right hand, extra. And with that momentum, I stop it on this string. So it's kind of like an underhit. You're going to bounce off this string in this kind of classic, I don't know who does this. I don't know, Jensen, I think I remember seeing do this a lot back in the day. But using your thumb to kind of increase the tension right here helps you to immediately bounce off this, okay? So in one go, it's a 1.5, twist through the middle, and stop on that mount. So this is the position you're going to end up at, bouncing off of this string on your throw hand. Okay? Once you've bounced off, you carry the momentum back to basically undo that twist you did through the middle. So you went through the middle, bounced, and went back around. All in one. Oh, I actually do it twice, so I missed a step. But it's still the same. You start with the 1.5. What I actually do is go through it 2 times. So you're going to go with that momentum under this mount twice. 1, 2, and then bounce. And then you're going to undo one of those and then just land on top with your last one. Since you have a twist, you don't need to pinch or anything. It's just holding itself in this position. Okay, so again, from the top, 1.5, through the middle twice, and then bounce off this string kind of in that position. You're going to go back through the top once, undoing one twist, and then through the top once, but on top the string. You're not going through the middle the second time. You land on the string, and then the last one is one bounce more, and then through the middle once again. So you're basically just padding for time. Honestly, if you do it all in once, you realize that you start in a 1.5 and you end in a 1.5. But you get a lot of twisty flares in the middle. Okay, that's actually the full sequence of events there. Bounce, through the middle, then on top, bounce again, through the middle, and then once you've gotten back to that 1.5 position, this is what you're going to do. Okay, it's kind of a weird throw, but essentially that thumb position you have to bounce off the string, you're going to actually use it the second time around to swing and land into that thumb mount. So you're going to end up in this position from this 1.5. You land right in your thumb. Okay? So from the top, all the steps kind of slow. There, 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 there. Alright? Do it once a time, like kind of full speed. That's it. Okay? Once you've gotten to this step, what I do is pop the yo-yo up and it will actually bounce off the underside of the string, and then you could go back to normal. So you're essentially just picking up the yo-yo and dropping it down into this mount. But you could do it a little more stylistically with kind of a pop up and out to my left. If you're lefty, it'll be your right. But you're going to just end up here. Okay? So this is where I'm going to pick up from. All the spinny, twisty 1.5 stuff, it's done now. That's the intro. I guess we're in part 2 of the combo, okay? And you're going to be in this position now. Okay? The next step is going to be hooking this main string attached to the yo-yo with your non-throw hand index finger. So I'm going to hook from the front and around and then mount from this position over my left hand. So you'll end up in this mount. So you were here, you hooked, and pulled over to this position, okay? Now from there, you're actually going to go back to your left, but with the intention of switching this left index finger to a left thumb. So when you go back over and you're still hooking this string with your index, you don't let it go. You go over your left hand and kind of hook it in this way. I actually end up swapping to my thumb at that point, okay? So it looks like this. Now you're at this position from this position. So over the left, hooked still, swap to left thumb, okay? Now your next step is to pop out of this throw hand triangle front. So going out to my right and out to the front. It's just a dismount that keeps this hook together, okay? So from the very beginning, actually, this, here, hook, undo, switch to thumb, and then go out front and right if you're right-handed. Okay? You're going to continue that momentum and mount with your left index finger. Again, this is for right-handed players. Just switch right for left if you're lefty and left for right. Okay, but I'm swinging to my left and mounting kind of just a little trapeze with my left hand, okay? So from, not the very top, but from this position, over and hooked, undone, switch to thumb, out the front and right, and then mount on your left, okay? Next thing is you're going to pop from this mount over your right hand. You're keeping everything together, you're not dropping anything yet, but you're going over the right hand, and you're going to end up doing another kind of bounce off the underside of the very front string. I've got a lot of strings here, but there's one at the very front. That's the target, okay? I'm going to do it kind of full speed. And I'm at this position, hitting the underside of that string. But what you're going to do is once you've gone up into it, that's when you drop your thumb. I think, yeah? That's the one. Okay. So you're going to go up, under, hit the front string from beneath, and then drop your thumb, the left thumb that you switched to previously. So you were here, you went there, switch thumb, out front and right, mount, go over your right index, then up and drop, okay? So you're gonna be in what looks like the same position, but you actually have some string wrapped around your right hand, and that's due to the way I'm actually holding the string from the very beginning. I keep basically, if you're the type of person to have it on your middle finger like most people, then you have your middle, ring, and pinky kind of curled around the string. So most of the work is being done with my right thumb and index, but pretty much the whole time I got this kind of monkey paw grip going, and that is actually necessary. So I guess I should have mentioned that early on, but that's part of the mount, okay? So even at this point, I still have this grip going. So when you're doing all the rolls in a 1.5, you still have that mount. Even at this point, it's still mounted like that. Even when you go over the right, up and down, I still have this extra kind of twist going around, and that's going to be necessary for the next step, okay? Which brings me to the next part, okay? So I'm going to do it again from the top, but really you could skip to this position. Okay, so once you have gotten to this one, and you've done the hook over and then back to your left, switch to thumb, out front right, mount on the left, go over your right, up into that string and drop your thumb, you're going to continue your rolling momentum to your right side and just mount in the middle. You haven't dropped any more strings, but you're at this position now, okay? Which I guess you could skip and go straight to here. But you're here now, okay? From the top, you do all your rolls, get here, drop, there. You're at this position. It's at this point that you're gonna do kind of a big circle clockwise. So I'm going over my right, and now I'm in this position. I still have that monkey paw grip on my right hand, but I'm in this mount, and it's at this point that you actually want to do kind of a weird turning motion in. So my index fingers are pointing out. I'm actually going to want to roll them both in towards me while doing a full circle counterclockwise, okay? So skipping all that middle stuff, you're here, you go over your right side, curl your index fingers in towards yourself while doing this full circle. Now that circle goes from the left side of your body and in through between your arms. So I guess if I got a better angle, it would look like that. So it's kind of going up under your face and down through between your arms when you do that position, okay? So you're at something like this, going over your right, curling in, and twisting through the middle, okay? And that kind of undoes some of the twists that were in this almost identical mount a few steps ago, okay? So again, skipping all the beginning stuff, you're here, over the right, twist in, and now you've still got this momentum carrying the yo-yo to your left side. So you want to continue with that and just mount on the front string. Now you're in a double or nothing. Very familiar. Okay? And you've still got this momentum. That's part of the trick, is a lot of the twists kind of continue into the next step, so you just keep that twisty motion going. So you're in a double mount, or a double or nothing, with the yo-yo kind of wanting to keep going to your left. So you're going to let it. But with this, you're going to go over your index finger while also turning your left index finger in. So from this position, going like this. Okay? So undoing it, you've got this momentum, you're carrying it over and in. So now my index finger is pointing towards me, and there's this kind of half twist on the yo-yo. So you're on it, double or nothing, momentum's going that way, you go over, and now that you're in this position with your index finger pointing towards you, left index pointing towards you, you want to do the same swing, full circle, but on the inside. It's kind of like an inverted style here, but you're going to continue that one twist on the inside, okay? And that essentially undoes itself. So you're at a double or nothing, you went over and twisted, and then did one more twist on the inside. You've still got momentum taking you left, you let it continue, and now you've essentially just double mounted in a double or nothing. So you were at a double or nothing. Of course, you could have just doubled here, but for a stylistic choice, I do this basically, okay? So you're at a double or nothing, twist in, twist on the inside, and then untwist and land in double. I'm going to do it one more time from a double or nothing, going over and twisting, going inside and untwisting. That's the motion. You could do that over and over again. Okay, that's the motion. If that's confusing, I suggest just doing that step from a double or nothing until it feels natural, okay? So you're in a double or nothing, twisted over, through, and then landed on the front in a double. The next step from this position, kind of a doubled up double or nothing, is you're going to want to unmount, but hitting this top string. There's a string at the top front, and then there's the string at the very front, but it's on the bottom. So you're going to want to hit the top string that's leaving from your index finger on the throw hand. So you're going to unroll and hit that string, and you'll be in this mount. The yo-yo's sitting on 2 strings right now. And you're going to want to do that same motion again. So hitting the top string and going over to your left, you'll be in this position. So you're returning to mounts a lot in the course of this tech combo. So you were doubled up here, you undid it twice, and you're going to do a similar step in the previous part of the trick, where when you were here, I was switching to my thumb, but you're not going to do that step in this position. What you're going to do instead is when you're at this position, you're going to hook the same string like you did previously, but you're not switching to your thumb. What you're going to do is actually pop the whole configuration from the back. So you're not popping in front of this top string, you're doing it on the inside towards you. Up, and there's kind of a string that ends up reachable with your thumb. And it's going to be hard to kind of pause on that moment, but I'll try to break it down, okay? So you're here, you doubled up, you're going to go up here, and grab this string right here with your thumb, okay? And what it's going to land on is the very front string, and that's going to form a bucket. So you're actually in a triangle knot right there. Right? It's very hard to hold it with my mouth and explain, so I'm gonna have to just do it clearly, okay? But essentially what you're doing is going from this position, doubled out, popping it up, and then you're gonna be grabbing this string when it's in a vertical position so that it can land in this bucket in the front, okay? So I'm going to do everything actually from the top so you see what it all looks like, okay? And we're here, okay? I'll do it one more time. Okay, and you should end up in this bucket mount where I still have my monkey grip going here. I've got one string held with my left thumb down, and my 2 index fingers are in kind of a normal position here. All right, from this step, you're gonna switch what string your thumb's holding. So right now it's holding this kind of back string coming from my throw hand. I wanna switch it to the string that's going over my throw hand index. So I want to switch from this one back here to this one up here. So if you do that switch, you should end up in this position. So you're going from this to this, okay? So I'm gonna skip the intro. You're at this double or nothing, undone twice, pop up, catch. Now you're switching your thumb to this position, okay? Your next step is gonna be an undermount on this top string. There's one on the very top, and you're gonna wanna go up and over your left thumb, your non-throw hand thumb. So up and over. Now, you're not wanting to drop any of these strings, so you're gonna have to kinda hold your hand in a weird position so that you're not dropping strings. My index finger is still holding what it was holding before. So it had a string over it, and I'm still holding that after the step. Okay, once you get to this position, you're gonna pop the yo-yo out to the front of its mount. It's on a string right now. You wanna continue it a slight to the right and forward, and that will dismount from the string it was on. Okay, now with this backward momentum, you're gonna swing over your left thumb and land on this top string, okay? And it's kind of just sitting there. It's a weird mount, I'll have to get back to it so you could see it in better detail. But it's a kind of mount that needs this weird position where you've got like these double chopsticks going, kind of crab style, and the yo-yo is going to be sitting on a very tight string right in the middle. So I'm going to actually do it from the top this time with the 1.5 twist stuff. Get into the chopsticks, go back here, go back to this position, undo, out to the right, mount on the left, go over your right, up, drop, here, okay, over, twist through, double or nothing, double mount, dismount twice, pop up and grab that string with your thumb, switch your thumb to being under this string, then go over your thumb, don't drop anything yet, go slightly front and to the right, that'll dismount. Then what I do is in this position, go ahead and get that chopstick ready. So you put your thumb inside the throw hand index now, and you're gonna go over and just land on this top string. It's tight, so it can actually just sit there. You do have to balance it, of course, but it can just sit in that mount, okay? It is a knot, so don't just drop from that position. Okay guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. This is a long one, but it is a tech combo, so what do you expect? And it's getting hard for me to just start in the middle of the tricks. Like I can start again, here's a double or nothing, here's like a 1.5 or 1. Some of these mounts I don't know how to get to without doing the whole trick, so I'm sorry. But you have the advantage of fast forwarding and pausing and stuff. I can't do that. Anyone wondering, that is orange juice and sake. One of my favorite drinks. It's called a sake screwdriver. Very tasty. If you're of age, alright? Don't drink if you can't drink. Okay, from the top, and I'm gonna get to this thumb mount, and I'm not pausing, it's just to get to the position, and we'll continue, okay? Alright, so you're here. Next thing you want to do is from this mount, go over your right thumb and your right index finger. So you were here, you go over the right hand and over your index finger. But you're not going necessarily over your thumb. There's not an extra string over my thumb, it's only over my right index right now. So I went from this, right over my right index. Okay? Now, what you're going to do from this position is kind of curl your right index in so that you're exposing what is in this position the bottom string. It's kind of covered up by a bunch of strings. When you're in this position, I find it's easier to hit that string if you curl your right index in. Okay? So I'm going to, from this hanging position, curl my index and just land it on the front. Like it's not a full swing, you're just doing like a little half swing and landing on the front. Okay? So from this, you're going over your thumb, right index, curling, landing on the bottom string. Okay? It's at that point you could extend your index finger again. Okay? So that's that step. And I swear we are getting to the end. I see the light. I see the light. Now, there's one clarification here. You could do it in one of two ways. When you're at that double or nothing, you can you could just dismount normally without hitting that top string and then hit the top string. Or you can hit the top string both times. It's really a style choice. And honestly, I don't think I'm consistent with it. Sometimes I'll just dismount once and then hit the top string. Other times I hit the top string on both dismounts. Not a big deal. here, over your right index, curl in, land on the bottom. Now at this point, you're going to do one underpass. So you had your thumb here, you're just underpassing with your right index finger, and simultaneously you can drop that thumb because you're going to need it later. Okay, so now you're in this mount. What you're going to do now is underpass on this top string. So the one that your thumb and index finger are kind of separating, you're going to want to go up and onto that string. Actually, I'm redoing steps. You don't want to do that. This is when it gets hard because I got to not talk so much. That's the tough bit. How does this trick go, you know? My apologies for not being able to do it just right off the jump. Okay, I remember. Here we go. So you're actually doing the same underpass and getting into this position, but ignore what I said about mounting. That would be almost a repeater trick, okay? You don't want to do that. What you are going to do from this position is stay in this chopsticks mode and realize that you've got basically three strings. You got this bottom one, this middle one, and this top one. And the next couple steps are just hitting all of them. So you're starting in the bottom. What you're going to do is pop up and land on the middle one, the one directly coming from your throw hand. You pop up and land in the middle. I like to turn my chopsticks straight up, which opens that gap for me. And then from this middle position, you can pop up again and land on the back. And it's at that point the chopsticks are completely facing you again. Okay. Ooh. We're getting there. We are getting there. I gotta keep doing the whole trick because I forgot how to get to that mount. But I guess that might be good for you. You guys who want to see how the trick goes. All right, I got a little tension knot. Just pulls out. I guess I gotta fix that. Okay, we're getting back there. Twisty, twisty. Chopstick, bounce, bounce. Up, over, twist in, double or nothing. Up, grab, mount there. Over your thumb, underpass. Okay, so from here, I pop up, land in the middle string. Now my hands are up. I pop up again, land on the back string. Now my hands are pointing towards me. Okay? And the next couple steps will follow that kind of trend. It's like you were in the bottom, you went to the middle, you went to the back. Now you could continue this motion and kind of rewrite your hand direction here, okay? So that's the direction we're headed. Okay, so bounce, bounce. Once you're on the back, what you're gonna do here, you're in this position with kind of strings on all your fingers. Your index finger has one, and both thumbs are holding one. From here, you're actually going to go forward and mount on this top string, but through an entire kind of bounce through the front. So you actually want to go front and land on the back. Okay? And it's at that point you're going to have basically a slack connected to your left index finger. And you can pinch however you like. I like to pinch my index and middle together to hold the slack, and you can drop that slack and throw it around, okay? So you're going to end up in something like this, okay? Let me get back to that position, show you what it looks like. Oopsies. Okay, so when you're in this slack position, what I do is pinch my left thumb down on that trapeze here, as well as my right index and middle finger. And what you're going to do is throw the slack up and around. So you were here, I twist in and over the top of that trapeze there. Okay? Once it's there, you can throw it up and you're actually going to catch it with your left thumb again. So you're in a position like this, you throw it up and then back around. My yo-yo died while I was explaining it. But it's really kind of a simple slack element. You have it held with your left hand, you drop it, spin it around, you're in this position, then you throw it over and catch it with your thumb. I actually messed it up. Good. Okay, so you get to this position after the first throw of the slack. Now you're just going to go it over onto your thumb, okay? From here, you're going to go over your left hand, right? It was on your index, now you could go over your middle finger. And from this position here, your target is this, right now, top string, but it's the one coming off of your right thumb. But you want to mount it in this position again, where your right hand is kind of pointing towards you. And what that does is it puts this top string on the bottom so you can just land a yo-yo on top of it. Okay, so you're going to land it on this string right there. So you've had this slack basically, you're going to end up in this mount. You want to dismount to your left and then land on this thumb string, but through your arms and onto the back. So you're here, you swing in kind of under your left arm, but above your right arm, and land on the back string, okay? Then you could drop your left hand, and you'll be in basically this mount. You could just bind from here. But what I'm doing is I have my index finger inside of this loop. My index finger is in there. And that'll let you do underpasses here. So you want to underpass twice. Underpass once to this position, and then one more time, but to land on the string from the yo-yo. So this middle one, the second time you're going to land on it. Okay? That'll get you to here. So not from the top, but from this kind of slack position you'll end up with. You go over your left hand, turn your right hand in, and land on that thumb string from the back and on top. Then you let go of your left, underpass once, and then pass one time onto the front string. And you'll end up in this mount here, okay? Which is kind of bucket-y, but it's a little bit different, okay? I guess I could show you up close what it should look like. You've got this string coming from the yo-yo. On your right hand, chopsticks looks like this. If I were to just have my thumb out, it has a string from my throw hand and then one underneath it that goes through. This is actually going through, this one here is going through my middle finger and my thumb string. So it's kind of like a bucket, but not really. Okay, so after that slack step, which I'll get back to, but I don't want to keep doing the whole trick, you land on the back, underpass, pass onto the front. Okay, once you're in this position, you're going to undo that last pass you did by going up onto the top string, the one that's coming from your middle finger. You can actually hit it on the top. Basically, you're undoing that last step, but with the intention to actually hook this middle string. Instead of being straight out with your index, you're going to hook it now with your index finger. So you go from this to this. Okay? Again, I'm not starting from the very top, I'm just starting from that position you would have after the slack catches. After you catch this slack with your thumb, you'll be here, you go over, land on the back, underpass twice, then undo one of them so that you can hook this string instead. Okay? And I will actually do it from the top so I know I'm doing everything correctly. Okay, so I was right. Okay, so when you're at that slack step and you've done this first underpass, the second one to here, you undo it, hook. Now you're doing a step that's very reminiscent of one about halfway through the trick, where you're popping up from the back and then grabbing with your thumb. And that'll form another bucket, but this time you're in a wrist mount, okay? So I'll do it again from that kind of slack step here. Mount on the back, underpass, underpass. You're here, you undo once and then twist, kind of hook. So you were here, you undid it, hooked that string, and then popped up, and you're grabbing this string with your thumb. That top one that's coming off your right hand, that's the one you grab with your thumb to open this bucket. Okay? Now you're just in a wrist mount. That's easy. I could get back to a wrist mount, no problem. Okay, so once you're in this wrist mount, the next step is you open it up like this bucket where you're using, I use my middle and thumb, but I guess you could do index. I'm gonna do middle thumb, and you're just hooking the wrist mount, I guess. These two strings you're grabbing with your thumb and opening up like this. Okay, from the outside, just hook and then open this way. And I guess I could do it closer. So you see your inner wrist mount, your hooks kind of come in on the outside like this, hook around, and then you're coming in and up. So you hook around, you're here, your fingers go inside that mount. So that's essentially just opening this bucket up for you, okay? So you're here, open the bucket. Now you're gonna pop up and land on the back string. When you're in this position, there's one very close to you, this one here. That's your target. So you pop up and land on that, and you're kind of back in this kind of inverted position again. But from that position, you're not doing what you did last time. Here, instead, what you're gonna do is pop the yo-yo forward off this string. So it's kind of up and out to the front. And your target now is your root string, the one coming straight from your finger. You want to land on the top of that string. So from this position, up and out, onto that middle finger string. So you're at a wrist mount, up, out, here. Losing it. It was a long one. Okay, I'm remembering. So I'm right, okay. So yeah, it's onto the back and then out the front onto this root string, okay? But your next step is to go over your right hand from that mount. So once you're in this position, you go over your right index finger, and this is what the mount looks like. Kind of like a, I don't know, teacup or something. There's a lot of twisties going on. But what you'll notice is in your left hand, there is this middle triangle. This one right here. That's your target, because if your hands are kind of facing up, you can go up and under into that triangle. And that's what your goal is. To swing up and under this left-hand triangle, not this tiny one right here, not the tiny one, and not this little one over here. It's the one in between those two, okay? All right, so you're in a wrist mount, open the bucket, land on the back, then I guess this is also important to say, like when you're in this position, you can pull your right hand through that mount that it's been opening. You don't need it to stay in this position. You actually want to pull it out so that this root string is exposed, because that's the target. You go forward and off and land onto that one. Then you go over your right index, and then you're swinging up through this middle triangle. Okay? But once you've gone up through it, this is the kind of one of the weirdest steps, okay? Once you're up through it, your next target is actually going to be this top back string, this one here, but from this position. So you're actually going to land on the top string, but from on top. So it's a weird sequence of steps where you're going to go up and under this triangle, like this, and then land on top, right here. Okay? Right there. I know, guys, that's a weird one. Okay, this is tech for you. But I promise there's actually like 3 more steps, and then the best part of the trick, the part that most people would actually want. I could have done a video of just this last trick, the very last step in this combo, but I figured, hey, it's been so long, I might as well give you a lot, okay? And so just take as much of it as you want, or as little, okay? So again, clarification, this last step is really weird, but to recap, you're in a bucket, you pop up onto the back string, you kind of pull your right hand out and then land on the root string, go forward and up onto the root, over your right, and then up under this triangle on your left hand. Once it's up in the air, you're kind of going to twist your hands forward so that that kind of back string that's the target is in the front, and you could land on it on top, okay? So let me just show you what it kind of looks like here. You're in this bucket here, you go up onto the back, pull your right hand through so this string is exposed, that one. Go forward on top, over your right, and then in one step you're going to go through this triangle, kind of rock the baby style. You're going up and then landing on this front string. You're landing like this. Okay? You're landing here. And you're going to be in a mess of a mount, but I promise it's part of the trick. So again, from the wrist mount, you're here, onto the back, pull your right hand out, swing forward, land on the root string, over your right hand, underneath, and on top, okay? Once you got to this weird mount, it's a lot of twists going on, you can actually drop everything except your left index finger, all right? And those of you familiar will notice that this is I think called a red triangle. It looks like a green triangle, but you can actually drop everything here. That's the cool part about this trick. It looks like a mess of knots, but most of the time you're in the clear. Okay. So I'm only doing it again from the wrist mount part. Eventually we'll get back to the very beginning from the top. Your wrist mount, open, land on the back, go forward and on top of the root, over your right, up and under this triangle, and then turn your hands down to land on that front thumb string. You could drop everything but your left hand, and you're in this position, okay? If you kept your thumb the whole time, then it'll have this little twist, which is fine. I tend to undo it with my index finger so that it's just a straight red triangle. Almost there, guys. Last step, or last 3 steps, I'd say, is from this red triangle, you want to swing the whole thing 1 time counterclockwise in front of you, okay? So this is my front side. I'm doing 1 full twist in the front, okay? Now the next step is to do 1 half twist. Well, actually it's a full twist, but it's a different axis, okay? You're not swinging it counterclockwise in front. You're taking your right hand around the entire yo-yo. So you're here, and my right hand, my throw hand, is going around the yo-yo an entire cycle. So it's this motion, like that. I guess if you were looking at it from the top, my right hand is doing 1 clockwise circle like this. So to recap, I was in a red triangle, I did 1 full counterclockwise twist in front of me, and then 1 full clockwise twist with my right hand, kind of going over my elbow, okay? Okay, and those 2 steps, the last 2 steps, are all to set up the very last step, the very last trick in the combo, which you might already recognize. Okay, so you're in a wrist mount. Go on the back. Go on this one. Go under and land on the front. Drop everything so you get to this red triangle. Do a full twist in front and then twist around like this. Okay, you should be at this point now. You still have a red triangle. You could drop this and not be knotted if you're lucky. And what you'll notice is there is a point close to my left index finger where the strings cross. This little twist, that's your target. You need to pinch that. Use your thumb and middle finger to pinch where those strings cross each other. And it's at this point you can take your index out. You don't need that there. You want to be in this position now. Red triangle with your fingers pinching this contact. Okay? Now this is, to some people, the coolest part of the trick, and also to some people the hardest part of the trick. Like, I know there's a lot of tech that goes before it, but this last trick, the snap homicide, takes some practice. It is not difficult so much as it is kind of nuanced. Like, it's like if you're a skater, it's like a kickflip. It's not a very hard trick, but if you don't know all the little steps involved in actually making it work, it feels impossible. But once you get it and you start getting this kind of rhythm of like, okay, how hard do I snap? Where should my left hand be afterwards? How much of a bounce do I give the whole system? Like, there's a lot of little details that will make the trick come a lot easier. But anyway, I'll just show you what it looks like. Backside, that one, under, onto the thumb. I drop everything till I'm in a red triangle. I twist around, and that whole time I'm just holding my left hand. You don't have to do anything special here. You just do 1 twist in front, 1 twist around, grab where the strings cross, okay? And then this is the actual last step. What you're gonna do is a snap. If you can snap, you could do this trick, okay? You're gonna snap with your left hand. You're snapping. Just practice doing this motion, because that's really all you need to do. Snap with your left hand. And that snap, I could get to without doing all the steps. You've got this little point where it crosses. You pinch there, take your index out, and you're going to snap. I know it looks easy, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you that's maybe the hardest part of the trick. Okay? You're here. You're set up to snap. I guess all I can do at this point is give you tips, because it's probably going to be a little different for everybody. What I do is I try to get this whole system in free fall, because right now it's not in free fall, it's in tension, right? It wants to fall, so there's kind of like this downward pull on all the strings. You want it to be as loose as possible. If you do it while it's wanting to fall, the yo-yo might fall while the slack is going around, and that messes up the trick. So my tip to you guys is to give the whole system, all the yo-yo and string in your hand, give it like a tiny bit of a pop, like you're ollieing on a skateboard for the skaters out there. You give a little tiny pop, and it's when everything is kind of floaty and free falling, that's when you snap, okay? That's honestly the best advice I can give for this trick, because it will take you many tries probably. I mean, if you get it first try, congrats, because I did not, okay? So you're gonna be in a red triangle after all of that stuff. I pop up tiny bit, not much, because you don't wanna take away from the kind of illusion of like, how is everything moving around? It's the slightest little upward pop and then snap, okay? And your hand does not have to move. That's the point of the trick. It's not meant to look like a typical red triangle kind of homicide where you do like a big motion, like you're throwing it. That's what the snap is for, okay? So what you want to do is limit your motions as much as possible. That's what makes the trick look cool, is like this illusion of motion coming out of nowhere, okay? So keep things as still as you can, but give it just enough of a pop so that the whole system seems floaty, okay? And that concludes one heck of a tech tutorial. I was not expecting it to take super, super long, but I didn't want to leave the veteran yo-yoers out there without something on the channel that appeals to them, okay? So this, again, is not for beginners. I will be doing more content that is catered for beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I would consider this expert, okay? So if you're not an expert yo-yoer, I suggest learning other tricks, because there's a lot more out there to learn than my tech combos, okay? So I'm gonna do it once more from the top, no explanation, just so you see all the steps in one, okay? And that's how you do it. All right. So to recap, that's a long tech combo, but it's one of my most used ones. I'd say, like, if I pick up a yo-yo and I'm just warming up, after I've warmed up, that's basically the trick I do, because it's just so fun to do a bunch of tech and then hit a little banger at the end. That always gets people, because you think it's just a tech trick, but it was all set up for a banger, okay? This was the Yo-Yo Factory Hot, the gray, black, and gold splatter edition. I think it's from the second run. You probably can't get these unless it's on a resale market. So I want to thank you all for sticking around. This was a long one. Probably come back to it and finish it later, because this could take you a while, but I wanted to put something out there that would appeal to the veterans and expert yo-yoers out there, and maybe even inspire some beginners or intermediate players, because you can do it. I'm just being honest with you. It will take time, okay? But don't give up. If you have questions, I guess leave it in the comment section, and I will be reading those. Also, if you guys have a cool name for that trick, because I do not name most of my tricks, actually. I just keep combo numbers in my head, like, oh, this is the 1.5 starter combo, or this is the wrist mount starter combo. Like, I don't have names. I just keep them in here. So if you've got a good one, let me know. Leave that in the comment section below. I've been Harold Owens, and until next time, thanks for watching. that's just unfortunate. I'll probably just edit this out if I'm good. If I'm not good at editing, now's a good time to show you my dog. He's right there, looking out the window. He's got a cone on and a diaper on, but don't worry, he's in good health. He just has terrible allergies and incontinence, the double whammy. But yeah, for some reason my mouse wasn't working, so I couldn't stop the video. Now I can stop the video, and thank you again for watching.